Breaking news, the Chicago Bears are already turning heads before Week 1 even begins. Power rankings are out, and the Bears' position is sparking big conversations across the NFL world. Some experts are putting Chicago high on the list, while others are still underestimating them. Tonight, we dive into what the national media is saying, why the Bears might be better than many expect, and what it means for their playoff hopes. But before we dive into the latest power rankings, make sure you subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss breaking Bears news. Let's get into it. The Chicago Bears are only days away from their Monday Night Football debut, and the buzz is real. Major media outlets have dropped their Week 1 power rankings, and let's just say Chicago is finally earning some respect. ESPN places the Bears at 13th overall, Yahoo pushes them even higher at 12th, while Fox Sports, CBS, and Bleacher Report are more cautious, ranking them 18th, 19th, and 20th. Now, ESPN's take is especially interesting. Adam Schefter and his crew believe Chicago is one of the most fascinating teams in football right now. With new head coach Ben Johnson steering the ship and Caleb Williams entering his second season, expectations are rising. Add in a young, talented group of pass catchers, a strengthened offensive line, and a defense that's at least solid across the board, and suddenly the Bears look like a team that could crash the playoff picture sooner rather than later. And let's be real, hearing a national outlet like ESPN openly talk about a Bears postseason push? That's the kind of headline that fires up this fan base. Last season was a tough initiation for Caleb Williams. He was sacked 68 times, the most by any rookie quarterback in Chicago Bears history and nearly the highest in the entire NFL. On top of that, the constant shuffle of play callers didn't make his life any easier. 3 different voices were in his headset, and by the end of the year, the offense lacked any real stability. But that chapter is over. Year 2 brings a completely new foundation, and this time, Williams has real support. Head coach Ben Johnson has assembled an impressive offensive staff. Names like Declan Doyle, Antoine Randall, and Eric Bieniemy are in place to guide Chicago's young star. Johnson isn't just a schemer, he's building a culture of discipline and accountability, and that's already been visible throughout the preseason. General manager Ryan Poles did his part, too. He rebuilt the offensive line with heavy hitters, Joe Thuney, one of the best guards in football, Drew Dalman, a top-tier center, and former Pro Bowler Jonah Jackson. Add in the steady growth of tackles Darnell Wright and Braxton Jones, now under the guidance of veteran coach Dan Rashar, a man with a track record of producing Pro Bowl linemen, and suddenly this line looks like a wall designed to protect their franchise quarterback. And it doesn't stop there. The Bears front office and coaching staff worked hand in hand to upgrade the firepower around Williams. Rookie talents like Luther Burden and Colston Loveland join a proven core featuring DJ Moore, Romo Duns, and Cole Kmet. Add in DeAndre Swift and young running back Kyle Manangai, and you've got an offense built not just to survive, but to score, and score often. Defensively, the Bears are just as committed. Veteran coordinator Dennis Allen is instilling intensity, with Al Harris sharpening the secondary. That energy is expected to unleash stars like Montez Sweat, Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, and Jalen Johnson, while giving the younger defenders the structure to make an impact. All of this points to one reality: the Bears aren't just aiming to be competitive, they're building a complete team with the postseason firmly in sight. Inside the NFC North, the Bears are finally built to go toe-to-toe with division rivals. Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay, this time Chicago isn't just showing up, they're showing strength. That's why a ranking like 13th overall feels fair. It acknowledges progress, but also leaves plenty of room for the Bears to climb higher. Fox Sports, however, wasn't quite as generous. They slotted Chicago at 18th, calling them more of a middle-tier team for now. Still, they admitted the Bears did the right thing this offseason. They stacked the roster and landed the perfect coach to develop Caleb Williams. And so far, the signs are encouraging. During preseason, Williams looked sharp, completing 17 of 25 passes for 220 yards, tossing 2 touchdowns, and protecting the football with 0 interceptions. It's only exhibition football, but it showed a glimpse of what this new offense could become once the games actually count. But here's where the conversation shifts. Too many analysts are focusing only on Williams and Johnson while forgetting just how dangerous this defense can be. Dennis Allen taking over as coordinator gives Chicago something it's lacked for years: an identity. Some coaches are built to be leaders on one side of the ball, and Allen fits that mold perfectly. Look at the additions: Grady Jarrett plugging the middle, Shamar Turner adding youth and energy, Andrew Billings back to anchor the line, and Dayo Odeyingbo, a player who quietly generated 49 pressures last season in Indianapolis. Pair that with Pro Bowler Montez Sweat coming off the edge, and suddenly the Bears' pass rush looks legitimate. And then there's the linebacker room. Tremaine Edmunds brings range, TJ Edwards brings toughness, and together they form one of the most balanced duos in the conference if Edwards stays healthy. All of this reinforces the same point: the Bears aren't just banking on their young quarterback. They're building a complete, well-rounded roster designed to compete right now. And then there's the secondary, arguably one of the strongest position groups on the roster. Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, Jalen Johnson, Tariq Stevenson, and Kyler Gordon form a defensive backfield that is stacked not only with talent but with depth. When you line that group up with the Bears' rebuilt front seven, it's hard not to see the potential. That's why Fox Sports placing Chicago at 18th feels like an oversight. If they looked closer at this defense on paper, it's clear the Bears deserve a ranking closer to 15th or even 13th, right in line with ESPN. But while Fox at least gave the Bears some middle ground respect, CBS Sports went even lower, dropping them to 19th. And this is where it starts to feel less like analysis and more like laziness. Their reasoning? They said, new coach Ben Johnson takes over with one priority: making Caleb Williams a better player. He looked good at times in preseason, but now it counts. Time will tell. That's it. No mention of the rebuilt offensive line. No mention of the wide receiver room that's deeper than it's been in years. No mention of the defensive talent that has quietly been stacking up. It's as if CBS barely scratched the surface of what this team actually did in the offseason. The truth is, Johnson isn't just here to mentor a quarterback, he's here to elevate an entire roster. From the coaching staff to the trenches, the Bears have made real, measurable improvements. And yet, CBS put them behind even Fox's cautious projection. And if you thought that was dismissive, just wait until you hear where Bleacher Report placed Chicago. When it comes to Bleacher Report's ranking, they dropped the Bears all the way down to 20th, but unlike CBS, at least they put some thought into their analysis. Still, a lot of what they said deserves to be challenged. They admitted Chicago fans are buzzing with optimism after the hire of Ben Johnson, and rightfully so. The Bears have surrounded Caleb Williams with better protection and fresh weapons like Luther Burden and Colston Loveland. The offensive line, once the league's worst in sacks allowed, has been rebuilt into one of the most promising units in football. But Bleacher Report still cast doubt, saying that even if the Bears improve, the NFC North could bury them at the bottom of the standings. They pointed to Detroit as a powerhouse, Minnesota's ability to win games in bunches, and Green Bay's big offseason moves. Here's the problem with that logic: it doesn't hold up when you actually look deeper. Yes, the Lions are talented, but losing both Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn changes the entire dynamic of that coaching staff. The Vikings no longer have the same quarterback who carried them through that 14-win season, and their roster holes are obvious. As for the Packers, they might have added pieces, but they also lost one of their best interior defensive linemen, leaving a major gap up front. That's where Chicago's new strength comes into play. The Bears now have arguably the best interior offensive line in the division, which means when it's time to move the ball, they won't need to attack the edges, they can win right up the middle. And if you're a defense without an answer for that, you're in trouble. The point is simple: Bleacher Report acknowledges the Bears' progress, but even their cautious outlook overlooks just how different this team really is. When you step back and look at the NFC North, there are cracks in every rival's armor. Detroit lost not just talent but leadership with both Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn moving on. Minnesota is rolling the dice with a rookie quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, and the uncertainty that comes with first-year growing pains is real. Even Green Bay, for all their hype, weakened their defensive front with key departures. That's why Bleacher Report's 20th place ranking feels lazy. They failed to account for how much the division has shifted and how much stronger Chicago looks on paper. Then comes the outlier, Yahoo Sports. They put the Bears at 12th overall, the highest of any major outlet. Their reasoning was cautious, pointing out the tough opening schedule against Minnesota and Detroit, but they acknowledged what many others seem hesitant to say: this roster has real potential. They even suggested rookie Rome Odunze could eventually leapfrog DJ Moore in the receiver hierarchy. Whether or not that happens, the bigger truth is that Chicago now has two dangerous weapons who can stretch defenses in completely different ways. And that's the story here. The Bears aren't a perfect team, but for the first time in a long time, they're balanced. They have a coaching staff with vision, a quarterback with talent, a line built to protect him, and a defense capable of holding its own against anyone. So where do I rank them? Right around 13th, with the arrow pointing up. But what matters most is what you think. Because when the season starts, the rankings won't mean nearly as much as the results on the field. This is going to be a season where the Chicago Bears finally start writing a new chapter. And if the pieces fall into place, that chapter could end with the word playoffs.